They say it is the mark of a demon. When I was a child, none took their chances by coming close to me, and certainly no one touched me. It looks as if a large man dipped his palm in wine and pressed it to my forehead above my left eye. After I was born, the midwife seized the afterbirth and rubbed it over the mark. Then the afterbirth was buried, so that when it decayed, the mark would disappear too. But the mark grew darker. By my 2nd year, it had gone from red to purple. My father tried every known remedy. He anointed it daily with olive oil, rubbed it with a sheep's hoof, even offered the gods the smallest finger on his left hand to take it away. But the gods did not accept his finger. They dulled the heat of the fire he set to send it up to them, so that it only smoked and did not burn. He had not named me, for fear it would be too easy then for people to talk and spread lies, and he was glad of this when the gods would not hear his plea. There was not another tent within 50 cubits of my father's, so as not to catch my affliction through their gazes. When people hurried past to catch an errant sheep or child, they looked at me out of the corner of one eye, or not at all. Once a man 4 tents away chased his goat to only a few cubits from my father's land, then stopped suddenly when he saw me at the cook fire and ran back in the direction he had come. The goat was never seen again. It was thought that I had changed it into a newborn, the one who was left outside the midwife's tent one night. Rocks were tied to the newborn's hands and feet, and he was taken to the Nile. After this, pregnant women sometimes went to stay with tribesmen in other villages, so they would not accidentally see me and have their own child marked in some way. I thought perhaps they also feared that looking at me was a death sentence. My father had told me that my own mother had choked to death a year after I was born. Pregnant women, being the most superstitious of all people, likely thought it was me who sealed her throat around the goat meat. While I could not tell you what the people of my father's village looked like up close, the traders were different. They did not fear the mark so greatly. They ventured from the cities along the Nile to haggle with my father for his olives. They brought fruit, nuts, honey, spices, incense, and every kind of grain. They brought flattery, promises, lies, and wine to make my father believe them. He pretended to entertain thoughts of buying large quantities of grain to store in case of a famine, and wool and salted meat in case all the sheep died of the plague that had first fed upon people very young and old, even upon men and women who had been strong only half a moon before their deaths. What he really wanted from them was stories, thinking one might instruct him in how I could be saved. The traders squatted around our cook fire and let me serve them. But if I accidentally brushed against one as I went around filling their bowls with goat stew and lentils, the man would jump up, curse, and sometimes run to wash himself where I had touched him. One trader even burned his tunic. So I was careful, because I loved to listen to their tales of other places, imagining one of them might be a place where I would not be thought so strange and dangerous. The traders only spoke of one town with fear, Sorum, town of women. It was also known as the town of exiles. Though some traders would not venture there, many were their stories of Sorum. It was a town of whores and exiles, people whose foreheads were branded with the X of the banished. Unlike the protective mark that the god of Adam had put upon Cain, the marks on these people were not meant to save them from harm. An X upon your forehead meant that you had committed a crime in one of the cities along the Nile and were no longer welcome. I took a great interest in the stories of Sorum. An old trader called Arat the storyteller told us most of what we knew of Sorum. Whenever he coughed and spat, it meant he wanted to speak. One night, the other traders were so raucous he had to do this over and over again until everyone went silent. Then he rubbed his hand along his beard, rocked forward to his toes, and said, "Sorum, town of women."